Hey everyone, in today's video, we're diving into the world of white oil paints. We'll be comparing three popular types: titanium white, flake white, and Cremnitz white. So each of these whites has its own unique properties and uses. So let's see how they perform side by side on the palette. So I'm going to be mixing in some raw umber with all three of these different hues, and we'll see what we get. So titanium white here is our brightest white that we have. We'll leave it like that. It's pretty easy to move. It's not very stiff. It's very light. This is a Sennelier titanium white. Titanium white with an arrow. Next, we're going to do our flake white, which is a lead-based white. And I'm using Visari's flake white for this. And flake white is a lead-based white, otherwise known as lead white. And the next for the comparison, we're going to do Cremnitz white from Michael Harding in walnut oil, which makes a big difference. If you do get runny paint, what you can do is you can first put the paint out onto a paper towel, have the paper towel absorb the oil, and then you can use your palette knife to put it onto your surface. I do that a lot. So if you guys look at our essential mass tone, right, of our different whites here. So we'll do like, what is the mass tone? So that's kind of the bulk of the white that's opaque. It's hard with titanium white. I'm sorry, it's hard with flake white because flake white is already very transparent, which is part of its properties. And a little bit of titanium white up here. If you have any questions about these colors, feel free to leave a question in the comment section. So this is really interesting. I looked up Cremnitz white. Where the name came from, I didn't know. It's kind of neat. It says it has a Cremnitz white, a specific type of lead white paint, has a rich history dating back to the 18th and 19th centuries. It was originally manufactured in Klagenfurt, Austria, using the lead from the mines that were near Krems, and was highly regarded for its superior quality. The name derived from the German word Cremnitz, which itself is a variant of Cremnitz, the German name for the Slovak town of Cremnica. Definitely, guys, have a Google of that. There's a little bit more about how it's manufactured and everything. And I'm not sure how they actually call it Cremnitz white. I'm going to talk to Michael Harding about that. If you guys know out there, please leave a note in the comments. It'd be great to hear what you guys think. But I think that hopefully he's using, it's Cremnitz with a C though, not a K. I'm wondering if he's using lead from that certain area for this, or if there's a certain manufacturing process that goes into making a Cremnitz white versus a flake white. I'm not sure why it's even called flake white, to be honest with you. I know that as artists, if we do use lead paints and lead pigments, we do not sand the surface of those paintings so that the lead, which will dry on your painting, becomes a particulate in the air. So we want to be careful that we don't breathe in dry particulate of lead to get lead poisoning over time. So lead otherwise is perfectly safe to use unless you're eating it or it's getting on your hands all the time and you're putting it in your mouth. You should be fine. And the amount that you use of white, well, at least that I use of white, isn't really a problem. So we have them all laid out here. Our titanium white versus flake white versus Cremnitz white. So our titanium white, if we look, you can see how this is much cooler in temperature than this. This is a little warmer. This is a little warmer, even more so, a little warmer grayer. We can even add just a little bit more in here. So that's really big with the properties of what it is that we're trying to understand is, are we adding a warm to a mix or a cool to a mix temperature wise? Even though it's splitting hairs, it really is important when we think about painting. Our titanium white, the tinting strength is far more intense than flake white or Cremnitz white. And I'm going to demonstrate that with putting a little bit of raw umber here on our palette, and we're going to mix each one into a raw umber, which is basically I just wanted to use as our baseline a color that's pretty natural, so it's not going to affect the paint mixture all that much, and we'll see how the whites affect the raw umber. So first we have our titanium white, which we're going to take a little bit of titanium white here and a little bit of raw umber. We'll catch it before it starts running. So that's about equal parts. And it's kind of neat. The titanium white really helps us to see the property of the raw umber. I'm planning on doing another video as well on the umbers that I use. The difference between raw umber, burnt umber, and red umber using titanium white. So that was interesting. So that mixed up pretty well. The tinting strength here is really strong. I'm going to use a brush as well. So with our little bit of raw umber, just a little smidge of titanium white. See how that affects it right away? So that white, and I'm just using a little bit of titanium white, but it really does the job really fast. It gets our value up very, very quickly. All right, if we start with our thinking about just doing a quick little value scale, we only need just a little bit just to carry that through as we mix from our dark into our light. So tinting strength is really strong. It's really cold in comparison to the other colors. Let's show you guys. So tinting strength within, let's do 50-50. You can already see how much warmer our mix is. I'm trying to get it to 50-50 here, at least similar to what we have there, and see how warm, same exact paint color, but see how cool this is versus how warm this is. It's really important to see these comparisons. And again, this tinting strength is not as strong as our titanium white, and it's warmer. It's also a little bit more transparent as well, so it doesn't really give us very, very transparent. It's just laying that out there. I'm going to do the titanium white again. I'm going to leave it a titanium on this top part, and everything in the middle part will be our flake white. See how opaque that is? And we can see this is a lot warmer. Now if we combine the Cremnitz white, let's do 50-50 with our Cremnitz white. About that to about here. We're not even getting close to affecting that mixture. Let's try to get that even. I'm going to need more Cremnitz white to change the value of this mixture to the higher value that we got with the titanium white right away. But also with the Cremnitz white, you can see how it's even slightly warmer even than our flake white from Visari. So this is Michael Harding, this is a Visari, and titanium white is Sennelier. Just kind of add it down here just to see. And the properties right now of the flake white are very similar to the Cremnitz white because they're both lead-based paints. The one difference that I'm noticing, and that we'll notice, will be drying time. So because this is mixed with walnut oil, I'd mentioned that earlier, something that I like is that it keeps this paint wet a little bit longer. Walnut oil actually slows down your drying time versus speeding it up, like an alkyd dryer. And so it's interesting that that's mixed with a walnut oil, which will stay actually wet on your palette longer as well. There you go. So if we look at our comparisons, I'm going to use my brush now. I'm going to kind of clean it off. Now I'm wiping my brush in between every time, wiping my brush with the paper towel to get clean mixes. So if we just kind of come in here, fill in an area with our color, you can see how transparent that is. And then the properties of these, this is a little bit ropier. You can see like it's a little kind of sculptural. It stands up on its own a little bit. Same with this. This is like you can carve into it and have really thick, if I were to have a thicker brush that had stiffer bristles, we could really kind of sculpt it. Think about Rembrandt paintings at the very end with the really fat over lean, where he's really fat paint with the fat paint with the lead white in there, really kind of chunking in the surface of how things move and then having that sit and dry. Really, really beautiful. Titanium white, not so much. See how it's kind of falling down on itself a little bit? I'm using the same amount of pressure. It's a little bit more liquidy. It leavens itself a little bit more so than the flake white, which means that you lose your brush strokes. Over time, your brush strokes will go away. But it's really beautiful for its tinting strength. But look how cold that is. Let's really put it next to here. And do you see that how light this still is? And I just used a little dab. Again, tinting strength is a lot stronger than both of these guys. These guys are great for finishing a portrait at the very end when you want subtlety. This I use at the very beginning of a portrait when I want to knock in my lights and darks. But then once I start to kind of think about sculpting subtlety within a painting, I move to my flake white or my Cremnitz white. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's supporting the channel on Patreon. Your support truly keeps this channel going, and I am incredibly grateful to have such a generous and thoughtful community around this work. Right now, I'm deep in the studio working on a whole new series of color lessons, exploring some fascinating pigments and how they behave on the palette and in paint mixtures. These explorations I found are great for beginners just starting to build their palettes, as well as experienced artists looking to go deeper. Honestly, I'm learning a ton about these pigments. Some of them I haven't touched in about 15 or 16 years. If you found this video helpful, please give a like and subscribe to the channel and share it with anyone else that you think might enjoy it. And if you'd like early access to upcoming videos, behind the scenes content, check out my Patreon page. The link is below in the descriptions. And thanks again for being here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Paint well. Cheers.